Welcome back to another episode of What Even Is D&D. Today's episode, Dice and Dice Rolls. Now, dice come in a plethora of shapes, sizes, materials. You've got metal. You even have rings. So, there is so many, and I will even give you an up-close look at this ring so that you can see it. There's little arrows to point to where it lands on. Yep, come on, focus. Anyway, there's 3D printed ones. They come in a ton of shapes and sizes and colorful. A lot of times you will get dice in a container like this. Oh, looks like I have one of my smaller dice mixed in there. But you can keep them in a dice bag. And I'll show you a few of these. Got a handful. Trying not to drop them. Ugh, look at all those pretty things. These shiny math rocks, as some call them. Now, you can, like I said, get them in any shape, size that you can think of. Just about. Not all of them, but, and what you can't, you can potentially make some as well. But what's important about the dice and how they relate to the game of D&D or Dungeons and Dragons are the rolls. So, let's get a character sheet up here. So, for instance, your skill list. There are these bonuses. You see these little pluses? You will roll a die 20, and you will add your bonuses. Now, let's see here. Let me adjust this so you can see more. Just about there. And let's get to the top too. So, if you notice initiative, that is what you'll roll to see what place you will go in combat, what order. And what else do we have? Proficiency bonus is also something that gets added to some rolls. Death saves are also something that you'll roll if your character gets below a certain amount of hit points. Bardic Inspiration, for instance, is something that is a bonus that's added to a roll. And there's a lot more that goes with dice rolls. For instance, you'll notice these saving throws here. You have your strength saving throw. Let me increase the size of this a little bit so you can see. There's a -1. So if you were running this character, you'd roll a die 20, and I got a 17, and I'd -1 for the strength, and that would come down to 16. If the roll was, or if what I was trying to match was 16 or below, I succeeded. Armor class, for instance, if you're trying to hit somebody, you will roll your attack roll, which is whatever your attack bonus is plus whatever you roll with the die 20, and then you will add that together, and if that equals to or less than the opponent's armor class, you're able to hit them. Now, all that can be very confusing, honestly. There's a lot of bonuses to keep up with, but it gets easier the more you do it. It kind of becomes second nature, just like if you're watching a TV show, you start to remember the characters pretty easily. But this is the key die. Here, let me get a smaller one. This die 20. You typically come in this size, and I have several smaller ones, but they all are about that size. This is the main die you're going to roll. It decides if you hit, if you're able to succeed in a check. Then you have your other dice. This is a die 8. Now, it's a little kind of funky shape. That's usually done for damage, as well as most of the other dice, honestly, except these. Die 10s, also known as percentage. You'll hear roll percentage, and you roll 2 of these. And if I can find the other, hang on, that one is not what I wanted. Well, wait, nope, that's not it. Let me grab one out of here to show you. Here we go. Or percentile dice, rather. So, the percentile dice are 2 die 10s, but most of the time they'll have 2 different looks. Let's get a focus on that. You see how one has 2 numbers and the other has 1? That's because the 2 numbers is going to be like your 10s. 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, and 90. Hey. And then you've got your 1s. If you've got 10 and 0, that would be 100. If you've got 4 and 2, that's 42. And percentile dice can be used to roll for several things, such as some things can be cursed, and there is a percentage of the curse activating. So let's say it's 20%. You roll your dice, and I got 41. If it was a 20% curse, depending, your DM will let you know if the roll's high or low before you roll, or they just won't tell you until you've made the roll. Sometimes they'll roll for you. If you don't get in that range, you don't activate the effect. Sometimes it's a bonus effect, like you have a 20% chance of doing extra damage, or a 10%, or a 30%. It's very useful. What else do we have going on with this? Maybe you want to know why everybody goes crazy and buys so many dice. The thing is, it's just like with anything else. You get kind of bored of the same old dice, and that's not to say everybody does, but it's a collecting thing, and it's fun. It's fun to have different dice. I mean, look, I have this metal die 20 that has a neat little egg, and then I have this very pretty looking orange die 20 that kind of looks like one of my tie-dye shirts. Not this one, the other one. The dice, they're just fun to roll too. And something that most likely you'll see people doing in the middle of a game, if they have nothing to do in between turns, they've already figured out what they're doing, people do tend to stack the dice up. It's a nice little fidgety kind of distraction thing. The dice are just an ends to a means to help with the role playing. They're part of a system that helps you figure out what's going on, because you need a random element to the game. Another use for percentile dice is for random encounters or treasure. You roll, your DM will roll to see what kind of random encounter you'll have while you're out camping. You could find loot. You could run into a monster. It could be a low-level monster. It could be a whole horde of monsters. You don't know. But the dice are basically to help you have an element of randomness, so that the DM's not planning everything out, because you can't plan everything out. Too many elements of chaos happens when there's multiple people. So you'll have a dungeon master or a game master will create a list of things that could happen and use that along with the percentile dice. Most of your other dice are for damage. So the d10s also can be used for damage, but they have a specific purpose other than that. You have d10s, d12s, d8s, d6s, and d4s, besides the d20. But there are all sorts of dice, and beautiful and colored, and I mean, just take a look. So many dice. But and they're fun, like especially the unique dice. Like, let me show you. So the dice bag again. The ring is kind of a fidget. You can wear it on whatever finger you want. And it's something that can help distract you or help you focus while you're playing. It's a nice bonus. Just the feel of the dice are nice too. There's so many different reasons that everybody loves collecting a bunch of new different dice. It's basically the equivalent of somebody who likes to knit or crochet, always getting more yarn. You can never have enough. It's just nice. There will be times where people will punish their dice by putting them in dice jail or putting them in the bag of shame or something. Everybody has different things, and there's even superstition that goes along with dice. My first DM told me of one of his players who swore if you put the dice in the freezer, they rolled better. There are ways to check and see if your non-metal dice are balanced. You can look that up on YouTube. There are dice towers. There are dice trays. There are nice little things that you can carry dice and pins and figures in. There's a lot that goes on with it, but the dice are a very essential part of the game. So I hope this has enlightened you a little bit more about dice and Dungeons and Dragons. Look forward to the next episode. I still haven't gotten any questions, so if you have any, please feel free to leave them down in the comments. Check the playlist. It's just What Even Is D&D. It has all the episodes thus far, and I recommend if you have any questions, check out the first episode and go from there, and if I haven't answered them yet, throw them in the comments. Thank you so much for joining me. I'll have the playlist and a video or two somewhere up here. I love you guys. Please take care and have fun. Later.